Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a former Boeing 737 pilot, and today let's fly the Icelandair 737 MAX from Keflavik to Chicago. We haven't touched the MAX in a little while, so I'm really looking forward to this one, and we've only flown it across the Atlantic once in rather different conditions, so really looking forward to today's flight. We are departing from MK Studios' beautiful Keflavik airport. At this point, thank you very much for MK Studios for providing it for the purpose of my videos. Now let's go ahead and get right into this, starting with a little flight plan analysis. So here's what our route of flight is going to look like. We are departing Keflavik and then we are heading across Greenland, and then eventually into Canada, down to the Great Lakes, and then into Chicago. The significant weather chart has quite a bit of low-level stuff here, especially icing listed. If we have a look at the high-level chart, you will see that it is actually pretty clear. A route leads us nicely south of this area of turbulence over here, and overall we should have clear skies most of the time. We are joining NatTrack Alpha over here, which we are eventually leaving again, so let's see if we might get a little rerouting from air traffic control. We'll see about that. Now, looking at the second chart, it's again pretty much clear skies all the way down into Chicago. That stuff over here is low-level stuff, which we don't have to worry about. The airport weather is looking fairly good as well. Over in Keflavik, we got clear skies, temperature 3 degrees, and some easterly winds, and in Chicago at our arrival time of 2300 UTC we are looking at something over here, so some gusts but good visibility. Sky probably rather cloudy, but nothing that would impede our experience. Alright then, and our alternate in Milwaukee, it's a pretty similar thing. We are looking at some snow late in the evening, but generally good weather conditions. With that in mind, let's have a look into the operational flight plan. We are leaving Keflavik at 16:30 UTC and arriving at 23:30 in Chicago, which should make for a beautiful sunset flight for pretty much the entire sector. Now, we are not critical with any of our weights. As you can see, we got about 3 tons of margin over there, actually 3.5 tons almost, flying in flight level 340 initially and then 360 later on. Now, going down into the fuel section, planned takeoff fuel is 16.5 plus taxi, so basically 16.7 is our minimum fuel. Looking down here, flying a little bit faster, we can make up 8 minutes at the cost of 300 kilograms, which we should absolutely consider with Cost NX 100 today, because looking at the top of the flight plan, we are probably going to arrive just about on time. So with all of that in mind, and since we might expect a rerouting from ATC, for which I want to take another like 15 minutes or so, just in case they don't let us join the NatTrack, let's go ahead and make a couple calculations. So for flying faster we need like 309 kilos, plus 15 minutes on top, which is basically 500, so adding an overall rough 900 kilos. 16.7 is the minimum, so 17.6 is our new fuel. So I'd say 17.6 it is. Let's go ahead and get into our 737 and get right up there, ready for a flight. By the way, absolutely beautiful repaint over here, available from flightsim.to. I'm going to link it in the video description below, provided I don't forget. If I do forget, just remind me about it. Alrighty then. 737 MAX. We haven't done that in a little while, have we? So, unfortunately, iFly does not connect the ground power by default, but I tell you what, it's pretty cold outside anyway, so let's go for the APU straight away. Battery is coming on, then the landing gear lever is down, flaps lever is up, that's all looking good. So, fire tests, and note that the wheel well test is not working here, since we do not have AC power. That's by design. And then we can go right down here, APU, on, and start. Alright, while we're waiting for that thing to come on, let's already go ahead and take a seat over here in our 737. The displays might take a little while until they're eventually going to come up. That is to be expected. And then we can already head down into the electronic flight bag and just grab a little piece of information every here and there where we can. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the sim menu and our refueling. So we said we wanted 17.6, and I tell you what, we are just gonna do this over the weight and balance page over here. So we got an overall of 160 passengers, which we can load. Then let's bring up our SimRe flight plan over here. For the fuel, we wanted a total fuel of 17,600 kilograms. And from that, we got to subtract the trip fuel 14,371. So plan trip fuel 14,371 and the taxi out fuel, which is 143. Alright, so we can already set that fuel, and that looks good to me. Then our APU is available, so let's bring that thing online. Let's get the timer going, 2 minutes until we can bring up air conditioning, and that's that. Alright then, from here let's go ahead and quickly figure out the rest of our weight and balance. So zero fuel weight 61.8, that means we gotta add 1,500 kilos. So let's put like 500 kilos in the front hold, 1,000 kilos in the aft hold, bringing us to a rather aft CG, and actually we need 1,000 more. So let's do 750 and 1,750. Alright, 61.8, that is looking good. Set that payload please. And then let's go for GSX and request boarding down here. Alright, with that done, our airplane is powering up, so let's go ahead and just do that safety rainbow again. So power is applied, then... yeah, well, seatbelts can come on as well. A time and call button is tested. And the takeoff config warning is tested. Cargo fire test, it's looking good. Wheel well fire test, it's now completed as well. Alright, leading us to the overhead panel. Unfortunately, no voice recorder switch simulated by iFly, which is something that all 737s do have by now. Alright, that stuff is looking good. Broadband system is not simulated, that's fine. Stick shaker, 1. And 2. Then let's see, the maintenance light is functional. The same goes for GPS, ILS and GLS lights. IRS goes in a nav. That thing is going to take a while since we are so far up to the north over here. And then let's go ahead and take a seat again. So 2 minutes are passed. We can turn on the APU bleed, bring on the packs. And then, since our colleague is about to go out for the walk around, let's turn on the hydraulic pumps, the lights are on, and then, yeah, you can head out for the walk around, and in the meantime, we can start setting up for the flight. So we'll do a light test. And this is all looking fantastic. Then we can test these lights up here, left side and right side. For our nav display, we do want the traffic, the terrain, and the airport, and the same on the other side as well, please. Alright, cool. Oxygen test. Yeah, well, suppose that's gonna be alright. Just... thank you, I guess. Alright, good. So that stuff is now done. Then let's go ahead and start setting up our FMC. So, starting right down there, on a 737-8.2, 28K engine, and the nav database is up to date. For the position initialization, we are going to use the GPS left position, and then let's go ahead and get started with our route. We're going from Bravo India Kilo Foxtrot towards Kilo Oscar Romeo Delta. We are the Icelandair 9er Victor, like that. Our departure is, well, probably going to be runway 10. Might become a different one, we'll see about that. And we got the Ralof for Bravo departure. Now for the rest of our route. We're flying direct to Rakis. Then we fly direct 63 north, 30 west. Then we go ahead with 61 north, 40 west. We continue towards 60 north, 50 west. Then we got Vesmi. Continuing on to Alsop. Then we have 55 north, 66 west. 50 north, 75 west. Almop. And Odaxi, and from there we are going to join the Wind 3 arrival. So departure arrival, would you please? Thank you. Okay, 28 center is planned for the time being with the Wind 3 arrival. Here it is. We can pick the Vogler transition and the Odaxi transitions. Alright, route, activate, and then we go on to the performance initialization. Cost index is 16. Reserve fuel, let's see, we got 0.9, so 1.8. Zero fuel weight, we are planned at 61.8. Our cruise level is initially going to be 340. The winds up there are going to be 128 at 42. ISA deviation, let's see, minus 61 up there, so let's just enter type of climb temperature minus 61, transition altitude 7001. Now onto the takeoff page, we'll do noise abatement procedure number 2, so acceleration 1000 AGL on a dry runway, engine out acceleration 1500 is looking good. For the VNAV page, 250 below 100 is checked, and for the fixed page, let's enter a 25-mile ring for MSA awareness down here, like that. Alright, so that's the general stuff done. Let's go ahead and cross-check our departure as well as our North Atlantic track. Oh yeah, over here I see the first error already. Shouldn't be 6140W, but 6140 November. That's why it's always a little problematic to enter these waypoints in this format over here, and why it's actually SOP at my airline not to use these formats. It's actually forbidden, but the iFly, I don't know, would it accept the standard format? Let's try. 6300.0N, and what's that? 03000.0W. Let's just see, is it going to accept this? No. Okay. Alright, well, the route is now in. Down here I made the same mistake. 5075N. Here we go, and Almop. Alright, that's why it's so important to do the waypoint cross-checks. Alright, in any case, that stuff is now all in, so our FMS is basically done for the time being. So let's go ahead and get started on our standard cockpit preparation up here. Yaw damper on, nav transfer display switches, normal and auto, fuel pumps are coming on, transfer valve bright then dim and bright then off. Alright, that stuff is all looking good. Let's see what's the cabin temperature doing. Pretty cold. Is it doing something against it? Yes, it is. Alright, that's fine then. Okay, so flight level 340 at first. Field elevation is some 800 feet over in Chicago. Lights are set. We do have maintenance here. Also going to turn on that compass light already. Then, let's see. For our, oh, that's interesting. The QNH selector is on hectopascals, but it's showing us inches. Oh, if I reset my WinWing FCU, then it works. Okay, well, I'm just going to accept that for the time being. So, flight director switches are both on, the rest will come later. Alright, auto brake RTO, fuel flow reset, oil quantity is good, hydraulic quantities are good. Okay then, we'll do the frequencies in a few moments. We don't need any field VOR, we can already tune 121.5 down here. Transponder standby and above and squawk 2000. Alright, listen to VHF 1 and 2, don't completely blast our ears away. That's looking better. And interphone is coming up, we don't need to listen to the cabin crew chatter. Alright, so that's all that stuff completed. Then let's go ahead and find our charts so that we can get a couple of frequencies and see what's going on ATC wise. Use FMS airports complete, edit clip. Alright, airport chart, let's have a look. ATIS 128.3.
10. Wind 060 at 9er.
Alright.
Temperature 3. Dew point 0. QNH 09er. Transition level 9er. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if traffic service is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information pop-up. Keflavik International Airport, information pop-up. 0730 Zulu. Arriving and departing runways 10. Wind 060 at 9er. Cav OK. Temperature 3. Dew point 0. QNH 09er. Transition level 9er. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if traffic service is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information pop-up.
Alright, information Papa is on board then. Delivery is later going to be 121.0 if I read that right. Yep. So here's 1210 and then ground 121.9. Unfortunately, iFly doesn't have any data link at the moment, so we are stuck with what we got available over here. But yep, so be it. Alright then, so with all that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and see if we can get that airplane up to speed with our departure briefing. At the same time, what's GSX doing? Boarding completed, I like it. Well then, let's first of all say hello to our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel, and in the name of Icelandair, I would like to welcome you all on board our flight to Chicago. Today's route is going to lead us from Keflavik down southbound into the direction of Greenland, crossing just about the southern tip of Greenland, and then eventually we are going to fly on towards Canada, and then eventually the Great Lakes to Chicago. We expect a flight time of approximately 6 hours and 36 minutes today, and a mostly smooth flight for the majority of our cruise. Thank you very much for being our guests. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. Now we are just finishing the last paperwork, and when that is complete, we will start our pushback, start the engines, and make our way to the United States of America. Thank you very much for being with us. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. And if there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please do not hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew members. Thank you very much for your attention, and once again, welcome aboard. Alright, perfect. So that's our passengers covered for the time being. Well then, we got the frequencies, we got all that stuff. Before we do the briefing, let's go ahead and get our IFR clearance. So delivery 1210 is active. And let's see what they got for us. Keflavik delivery, ISR 9 Victor, information Papa, request IFR clearance to Chicago.
Clearance on request, you're number 1. Icelandair 9er Victor, clear to O'Hare via the Rallo 4 Bravo departure, climb 4000, expect flight level 34010 minutes after departure. Departure on 119.300, squawk 1364, expect runway 10.
Icelandair 9er Victor is cleared to Chicago via the Rallo 4 Bravo departure, runway 10, climb altitude 4000, departure 119.3, squawk 1364.
Icelandair 9er Victor, read back correct, ground is on 121.9er, safe flight, sir.
121.9 or Icelandair 9 Victor. Okay. So, let's see. Runway 10, Rallo 4 Bravo, 1364 in the squawk machine, and the initial climb is altitude 4000. Come on. Here we go, 4000. Alright, perfect. So all that good stuff is in. Departure 119.3. We can just pre-select that down here. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead with our departure briefing. I do honestly not see any threats for today's departure. Route check. Bravo India Kilo Fox to Kilo Oscar Romeo Delta. We are the India Charlie Echo 9er Victor. Our routing is via Rallo 4 Bravo to Ralov, direct Rakis. Then 63 north, 30 west, checked. 61 north, 40 west, also checked. 60 north, 50 west, checked. Direct Vesmi, direct Alsop. 55 north, 66 west is checked. 50 north, 75 west is also checked. Direct Almop. Direct Odaxi for the wind 3 arrival, which we got. Ground distance is 2,681 versus 2,770. Slightly longer, but that does make sense because of the arrival and the transition we entered. Okay, so with that our route is checked. Instrument cross check, time UTC is now 1624, altimeter 999 reading 150, MFRA 1150, flight directors are on, minus master, standby instruments set. It's a left seat takeoff, runway 10, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure number 2, and the emergencies are going to be straight at 25, climbing 4000. We don't need any cold temperature corrections, and if we need to make an immediate return, runway 10 is available. We are overweight, but should still be possible to land there. Alright, now for our emergencies, we'll do them exactly as briefed in the crew room. Taxi is a pushback to the right-hand side, fairly standard taxi out with a runway crossing of runway 28 over here, and then runway 10 full length 3054 meters available. Our departure is the Rallo 4 Bravo departure. Let's find that real quick, because I didn't actually check the departure in the FMS beforehand. Should of course normally have done that. So, Rallo 4 Bravo, here it is. Let's have a look. No, that's not correct. Rallo 4 Bravo? Oh, that's not the right runway. It even says runway 10 up here. Rallo 4 Bravo. Oh, actually it is. Yeah, I was wrong. We're taxiing to a different runway than I just briefed. That was my mistake. I knew I had a brain fart somewhere. No, runway 10 is that one. So, pushback over here. Southbound, Charlie 3, Kilo 4. To runway 10, and then we got no hotspots for our taxi routing either. Okay, so now for the FMS. Rallo 4 Bravo, straight at Kilo Fox 272, and here we go, 272, left turn, Kilo Fox 273, Kilo Fox 445, Kilo Fox 440, and we got 273, 445, and 440. And then left via 279 towards Ralov. So we got 279 and then Ralov. Now the question, do we need a speed restriction on the first turn? Not really, huh? Looks like the plane can do all of that. Alright, good. Then all of that stuff is checked. I am going to insert the 4000 down here, however, just so that we've got that back up. And that's it. So, questions? Nope. Alright, then that's our departure briefing complete. So let's do the safety inspection checklist, and before start checklist down to the line, please. or down to PA. Surfaces and shocks checked, maintenance status checked, battery on, electric hydraulic pumps on, landing gear lever down, ship's library checked, RS mode selectors nav, gear pins 103 removed, well, should be there at least, probe covers 10345 removed, light test checked, oxygen test 100%, ELT armed, yaw damper on, nav transfer and display switches normal and auto. Fuel, we've got 16.7 required, 17.5 on board, 6 pumps on, cabin utility IV galley power on, emergency exit lights armed, fast modes on, window heat on, air cannon press, pack auto bleeds on set, pressurization mode selector, auto, instruments cross-checked, auto brake, RTO, speed brake is down intent, parking brake set, stop from cutout switch is normal, wheel by fire warning checked, radios, radar and transponder set and standby, rudder and aileron trims 3 and 0, takeoff briefing disgusting, PA complete, holding at FMC CDU. Alright, so with all that stuff here, let's go ahead and do our takeoff calculation. For that, we just need that ATIS, which I just deselected. That was 1283, wasn't it?
Wind 060 at 9er. Cav OK. Temperature 3. Dew point 0. QNH 09er. Transition level 90 advise on course heading, altitude, and if traffic service is requested. Read back all runway and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information Papa.
Alright, so ATIS Papa is here.
International Airport. Information Papa. 0730 Zulu. Arriving and departing runways 110. Wind 060 at 9er. Cav OK. Temperature 3. Dew point 0. QNH 09er. Transition level 90 advise on course heading, altitude, and if traffic's...
Okay, cool. So that's our ATIS on board, and we are going to depart Keflavik runway 10, dry, 060 at, I fly, meters. So let's actually make that 060 at 4 meters per second. A meter per second is roughly 2 knots, so that should work. Temperature 3, 999, takeoff 2 didn't work, so let's use takeoff 1 and then calculate. That's a D takeoff 1 at 32 degrees. Okay, so let's have a look. 6218 is the correct weight over here, and then we got D takeoff 1 and 32 degrees. 86.6 versus 86.4, that's close enough. Okay, so it's a flaps 5 takeoff, the center of gravity is 18.7. And the takeoff speeds 53, 53, 59. Alright, so 159, here we go. Alright, so far so good. All that stuff is set, trim 6.9 units, which matches the FMS. And here we go. Alright, then let's finish up the remainder of our procedures here. So, please complete the checklist. And then we can close this thing as well. Thank you. So that's BA complete, FMC and CDU set, N1 and ES bugs. Auto, reduce takeoff 1, 32 degrees, 53, 53, 59 set, stop trim 6.9 set, performance weight and balance, signed and sent, phones off, EFB, airplane mode stowed, flight awareness and cockpit door locked, doors closed and passengers seated, before start checklist complete down to the line. Alright then we are basically ready to go, so let's call for pushback clearance. Keflavik ground, Icelandair 9R Victor, request pushback and startup.
Icelandair 9 Victor, pushback and start approved. Face south.
Pushback and start approved facing south, Icelandair 9 Victor. Alright. Before start checklist below the line, air compacts off, anti-collision on, parking brake set, transponder out off, before start checklist complete. Ground from flight deck. So, please confirm that all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. That's all confirmed, Captain. Thank you, we're clear to push and start facing south, and the nose goes to the south, please. Parking brake is now released. Roger, start the pushback, stand by for engine start. Roger. By the way, let's just set the courses for the runway as well. 101. Here we go. So, why isn't he pushing? If I need to guess, I forgot the chocks. Yeah. So strange that the cold and dark state by iFly has chocks in place, but no external power unit. But okay, so be it. Alright, lovely. Then let's bring those charts up. Okay. Here we go. Stand 5. Push him back. Beautiful sky up here, isn't it? Okay, ground from flight deck. We're ready for engine start. Sequence will be 2, then 1, and we'd like to begin with engine number 2 now. After that, clear to start 2. Engine 2 start. And 2. So we got oil pressure, we got N1, and fuel is coming on. So pushback completed, please set park and brake. Park and brake set. Okay, start a cutout, monitor 2, isolating a pack and starting 1. Engine 1 start, N2, motoring in progress, N1, still no oil pressure. There's the ramp agent, she's holding a pin. Looks good. Alright, there's a clear signal. Okay, ground, we have 2 good starts. Please disconnect, prepare the airplane for taxi. See you on the left side and have a good day. Bye-bye. I mean, they're all gone anyway already, but you get where I'm going with that. So, start a cutout, monitor 1. Number 1 is waiting for the red line to disappear. Stable. So we don't need anti-ice. That's looking good. The recoil is also good. Then flight control track. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. And neutral. Before taxi checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, ProPeat on, anti-ice off, air conditioning, PAX auto, bleeds on, isolation valve, auto, flaps, 5 required, 5 selected, and a green light. Step trim 6.9 units required set. Start levers idly turned, flight controls checked, recall checked, before taxi checklist complete. Icelandair 9R Victor, request taxi.
Icelandair 9er Victor, runway 10 taxi via November 12, Charlie 3, Kilo 4.
Icelandair 9R Victor, taxi to runway 10 via November 12, Charlie 3, Kilo 4. Okay, so that's as briefed. The left side is clear, the right side is clear, and just to verify, straight ahead, November 12, Charlie 3, Kilo, that's it. Brake off, config. It's looking good, and off we go. So initially straight out of the apron. Small turns like this one can be taken at a slightly higher speed, but we should obey the maximum 15 on the apron here. Alright. So Charlie 3 is straight ahead. Then next to the right, and then all the way to the full length. Okay, so before takeoff checklist down to the line, please. Config, check, flaps 5.5, green light, stop trim 6.9, set. Takeoff briefing, left seat takeoff, runway 10, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 2, packs, auto bleeds on, anti-ice off, and the takeoff is straight ahead with a left turnout, climbing 4,000 feet. Emergency straight ahead 25 miles to pick up a holding, and the squawk is in reviewed. Cabin. Secured, before takeoff checklist complete down to the line. Alright, so all the way straight out to the full length, and then we are ready to go. Lovely lighting conditions here, aren't they? It's going to be dark in about an hour or so, probably even a little bit less than that now, let's say in half an hour. But since we are going to fly southwest bound, the sun is actually not going to rise all the way on, or going to set, all the way until we are down in Chicago. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to. Right, got a little bit fast here, let's get her back down to 30. See if she can hold the speed at this weight, or if she needs the same taxi technique that you would use on most Airbuses. But looks like she needs that. Let's see if we go down to 25, what's going to happen. We do have carbon brakes on the aircraft, so they wear down by the number of brake applications, not by the amount that you brake. So try to minimize the number of brake applications here. Look at that, she's even accelerating at this weight. Quite impressive, isn't it? Honestly, she's accelerating too fast. Has GSX messed up my payload? Let's just load that one more time, just to be safe here. Weight and balance, set payload. Just to be sure. The fuel is definitely on board and correct. Alright. Okay, so the approach area is clear, we can already see that. Did we go downhill here? Yeah, looks like it. Maybe that was the reason why she accelerated so good. Okay then. Basically, ready for departure.
Icelandair 9er Victor, contact tower on 118.3, bye-bye.
118.3, Icelandair 9er Victor, bye. Keflavik Tower, Icelandair Victor, ready for departure.
Icelandair 9er Victor, Keflavik Tower, runway 10, wind 060 at 9er, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 10, cleared for takeoff, Icelandair Victor. Okay then. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. Approach is clear, before takeoff checklist below the line. MCP, set, transponder, Tara, strobe lights on, landing lights on, before takeoff checklist complete. Alright, are you happy with the rolling takeoff? Takeoff. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. 80 knots, checked. P1, rotate. Positive climb, gear up. Hello? Here we go, gear is coming up. LNAV. Buck up.
Icelandair 9er Victor, contact departure on 119.3.
119.3, Icelandair Victor. Flaps 1, speed checked. Flaps 1. And flaps up. Speed checked. Keflavik departure, Icelandair Victor, passing 2100, climbing 4000.
Icelandair 9er Victor, Keflavik departure identified, climb flight level 100, turn left heading 335, vectors to Kilo Foxtrot 445, then on course.
Climbing flight level 100, left heading 335, Icelandair Victor. So, heading select and set, 100 checked. Flaps up, no lights. Yeah, set standard.
Icelandair 9er Victor, climb flight level 210.
Climbing flight level 210, Icelandair Victor. Set, 210 checked. Alright, VNAV. What is the thrust lever doing? Okay, auto thrust off. Icelandair Victor, can we proceed direct Kilo Foxtrot 445?
Icelandair 9er Victor, contact Iceland on 126.55.
12655, Icelandair Victor.
Icelandair 9er Victor, affirmative. Proceed direct Kilo Foxtrot 445.
Thank you, direct Kilo Foxtrot 445 and 12655, Icelandair Victor. Okay, so I'll just quickly fly that, just match the heading please. And then we can call the next center. Keflavik, good evening, Icelandair Victor, passing flight level 78, climbing flight level 210.
Icelandair 9er Victor, Iceland identified, good afternoon.
Alright, we'll just go back to LNAV over here. Then let's try auto thrust again. Alright, it's back in N1 mode. Here we go. No idea why it reduced the thrust earlier. Well, I have an idea, but it shouldn't have done that. Since we were still flying in toga mode, we climbed above the 4000 restriction and entered at 445. And when we engaged VNAV probably wanted to descend again. Should never do that. It should just keep climbing in that case.
Iceland, climb flight level 270.
Climbing flight level 270, Icelandair 9er Victor. So that was actually a bug in the iFly. Alright. Command A, set, flight level 270 checked VNAV, and then we are passing 105, climbing 270, 10 checks. The fuel is balanced with 6 pumps on, lights off. Actually haven't done that either. Yep, we were a little busy on that departure. Okay, so, lights off, APU off, air cannon press is at 3.4, climbing set, fasten belts. Let's release the cabin crew first, we'll do the passengers in a few moments. Recall checked, monitoring 1 to 1.5 at least on this side, and now on this side as well. And we've got no CPDLC simulated in this airplane, so that's the 10 checks complete. Then let's do the after takeoff checklist as well. Air cannon press, 3 point something, climbing set, and the cabin temperatures are looking good as well now. Altimeters, standard, passing flight level 120 now. And that's the after takeoff checklist complete. Alright, beautiful. Then we've done pretty much everything that we had to do. So I'd say, for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. And if anything interesting happens, as always, I will get back to you. But for now, just enjoy the beautiful sun. Maybe we are going to see some polar lights, depending on how dark it is going to get on this one. And then I see you all later when we start the approach into Chicago. friends, we have just gotten vectors onto the ILS approach runway 28 center over in Chicago. Beautiful sunset, probably one of the longest that I've seen so far, and definitely an enjoyable one at that as well. 133.625, Icelandair 9 Victor. Alright, let's give him a call, 33625. Chicago approach, Icelandair 9 Victor, passing 15,100, descending 11,000, heading 215.
Icelandair 9 Victor, Chicago approach, good evening, O'Hare, altimeter 2988.
Altimeter 2988, Icelandair 9 Victor. Okay, so 2988 set 2 times, let's make it 3. And that's now set. Alright then, so let's put Lindu on top so that we get some better nav data here. So, Lindu, here it is. Alright, cool. So all that lovely stuff is done over here. We're pretty much right on the VNAV path, so let's just press that VNAV button. And you can give me a speed of 280 knots, please. Okay, nice. So we are going to fly the ILS approach runway 28 center. Let's go ahead and talk about it for a bit. We're also below 15,000 already, so let's turn on the fasten seatbelt sign so that our cabin crew can start preparing the cabin for the arrival. Alright, so for our approach, we got, well, basically no threats. They do PRM approaches over there, so if we do get a missed approach from ATC, then it's an immediate disconnect of the autoflight system and follow the missed approach instruction immediately. Apart from that, nothing special for the PRM approaches, and then we can go straight into the ILS approach from a 28 center. So we got frequency 108.95, which is set 3 times. The courses 273 are also set, and the minimum 851 is set here and there as well. So for the approach, the MSA is 3,200, and the latest weather report we received indicates current weather, visibility 10, sky conditions, few clouds in 2,100, overcast 6,500, temperature -3, altimeter 2988. That means cold temperature correction is necessary, so the MSA is going to become 871. Let's go ahead and set that now.
Turn right, heading 255.
Right heading 255, Icelandair 9 Victor. Heading 255. Alright, so 871 set on this side and copied to that side. Also, you can stay on the terrain, please, and you can already turn that VSD back on. Okay, cool. And we got almost 1,000 to go. Vertical speed, and we can already start reducing towards 250. Okay, for the approach, 3,200 is the MSA. That's around about 3,000 feet above the field elevation, so 3,000, well, 3,400 I was about to say.
Descend and maintain 5,000 feet, turn left heading 225.
Descend and maintain 5,000, heading 225, Icelandair 9 Victor. Okay, 5,000 heading 225, level change, and let's just maintain the current speed, something like that. Okay, good. So yeah, the temperature corrected MSA is 3,700 feet, anything below that does need correction. So let's have a very quick look down here. That's basically just the 2,300 over here, which is 1,500, so 150 on top gives us 2,450. So the 2450, here it is, 1100 doesn't need correction, and Delta Papa Alpha is already above the corrected MSA. Alright, perfect. Engine anti-ice on. So, that much about the threats for our arrival. Now let's talk about the approach itself. In the FMS we got 250 below 10,000, forecast pages in, fixed rings, runway 28 center, 10 miles, 4 miles.
Icelandair 9 Victor, proceed direct Hazel. Descend and maintain 4,000 feet until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 28 center approach.
Director Hazel, descend and maintain 4,000 until established. Cleared ILS 28 center, Icelandair 9 Victor. Alright, Director Hazel puts us a little bit high, reaching 10,000, speed 250, speed brake is coming out. Come on, just stay where I put you, here we go. Alright, speed brake's out, and then we can quickly do the 10 checks before we finish up the briefing. So the fuel is balanced, and we've got 4 pumps on, the lights are now on. Angular bank 25, air conditioning and pressurization 3.0 descending set, fast modes on, with recall checked 21.5, still monitoring, and data link has never been on at all in this approach. Alright, that's it. Cool, so to finish the briefing, yeah, we got all that lovely stuff. We're arriving with 3.6 tons. The minimum for a diversion is 1.8. That gives us about 45 minutes of extra fuel. We are now burning, well, they say 200 kilos. Let's just pretend it is. Flaps 30 for the landing. Auto brakes 3 vacate the runway to the right-hand side, and then we'll see where they are going to park us. And that's about everything I got. Any questions? No? Beautiful. Then that's our approach briefing completed. So, let's do the frisk check right up next. Frequencies 108.95, checked 3 times. Fixed rings 2800, 10 miles, 4 miles. Idents India Victor Zulu Echo, checked and checked. Standby instruments set, and the course is 273, checked. Approach checklist. Altimeters and instruments cross checked. Approach rates checked and set. Approach checklist complete. Right, I'll put the VSD on my side as well, just because I do think the max displays look a little bit nicer when it's on, and it does provide some useful info as well, doesn't it? So we're about to reach that VNAV path again. Let's just descend her right into it, and once we're within the path, we can go back to VNAV. If you're wondering, LNAV in blue, LNAV in green. Did I say blue? Well, in green and in white. Not a bug, it's actually a feature. Speed brake in, VNAV on. Not a bug, it's actually a feature, because LNAV is currently in use to track us along the route, but it is also armed for the missed approach already. That's why we got LNAV 2 times. We're also running quite well on our schedule. 22:58 is the current time after 6 hours 14 of flight time, and the schedule is 23:20, so we'll be at the gate 10 minutes early. What else could we ask for? Okay, so we are receiving the ILS signal. We are more than close enough. Approach armed. Flaps 1. Speed checked. Flaps 1. And speed intervent. Let's not go too slow yet. Flaps 2. Speed checked. Flaps 2. See, this is pretty much the only good use for the flaps 2 setting. If you need to fly something like 180 or so. And 1 is still a little bit too high, but flaps 5 would give us a 5 speed down here. So then you can use flaps 2, you can fly 180 knots. But that's really about the only use for that function. Alright then, let's have a little bit of fun. Auto throttle off. Autopilot off.
Icelandair Victor, contact O'Hare Tower on 128.15, crossing Hazel.
128.15 over Hazel. Icelandair Victor. Yeah, I'm going to call him now. O'Hare Tower, Icelandair Victor, ILS 28 Center.
O'Hare Tower, roger.
Warlock captured. Runway heading 273 set. Okay, flaps 5. Speed checked. Flaps 5. So the runways are in sight, and we're gonna go onto the left of the two runways ahead of us. Blast stop capture, go around altitude 4000 set. So the weather down here is looking pretty good. Engine anti-ice off. The cabin should be secure by now, so let's turn that stuff on. I'm going to leave the start switches on straight away, because, hey, we're pretty much established on the ILS now anyway.
Icelandair 9er Victor, O'Hare Tower, winds 260 at 6. Runway 28 center, cleared to land.
Runway 28 center, clear to land. Icelandair 9er Victor. Okay, landing clearance is received. Terrain noted. Man, fantastic view outside, isn't it? Let's just see that from the in-flight perspective again. I mean, look at this. This is pretty much exactly what a dream GoPro view would look like on an approach like this. Alright, let's start configuring a little bit earlier. Gear down, flaps 15, and landing checklist, please. Flaps 30. Speed checked, flaps 30. Set VRF plus 5. Landing checklist. Start switches, continuous, recall. Checked, speed brake. Armed green light, landing gear down 3 green, auto brakes 3 set, flaps 30 green light, landing lights on, landing checklist complete, crew is seated, clear to land. I think we got just the right time here, didn't we? This is just looking fantastic. Checked. Nah, deviating slightly below the path, but we'll get back into that quickly and easily. $500. 500, continue. $400. 300. Approaching minimum. Checked. 200. Minimum. Continue. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. Speed brake up. Thruster is normal. 63%. $100 knots. Manual brakes.
124.125.
124.125. Icelandair 9er Victor. 60 knots. Could you just tune that frequency for me, please? O'Hare ground, Icelandair 9 Victor, request taxi to the gate.
Icelandair 9 Victor, taxi to Terminal 5 Gate M15 via Papa 1, Papa Echo Echo Victor 1, good day.
Taxi to Terminal 1, to Mike 15 via Papa 1, Papa Echo Victor 1, Icelandair 9 Victor, good day. Alright, so let's see where that is. So we're on Papa. Then we got Echo and Victor 1. Alright. So Papa, Echo Echo, and Victor 1's got to be over here somewhere, and then the gate is over here at this terminal. Okay, that looks fairly easy and fairly doable. So let's go ahead and tidy up. Where's the plane going again? That's why a second pilot is so useful. Alright, this is Papa 4, so we still have quite a bit to go, okay. Alright. So, let's make it some light, and with that, welcome to Chicago. I do hope you enjoyed that one. I most definitely did. It's been a while since we've flown the 737 MAX, and I definitely enjoyed being in it again, especially for a characteristic MAX flight that you wouldn't really do with an NG. Which is that Icelandair type long-haul operation. Alright, we're approaching Foxtrot. Echo is going to be one further, respectively. Echo, Echo. Okay, let's see if we can already get some GSX going over here. So looking for Concourse Mike. Well, he didn't say Terminal 5 though. Should be International Terminal. But obviously they don't have that. So yeah, Mike 15, no follow me required. Handling by, I don't really know, I don't really care. Give me something then. Alright, here's Echo Echo. Icelandair 9 Victor, please confirm we are clear to cross runway 28 right. Doesn't seem...
Icelandair 9 Victor, cross runway 28 right.
Crossing runway 28 right, Icelandair 9 Victor. Okay, the right side is clear, the left side is clear. Just using a little bit of thrust to cross over here so that we get clear of the runway as quickly as possible. Even with those aircraft that start taxiing on their own, if there is one thing that air traffic control does not like, it is usually that they are... taking long to cross a runway. Okay. So here's Victor. We are supposed to taxi via Victor 1, which is not really included on the charts. So we'll just enter over here and then go to that side towards the parking area. Alright, over here is a sign for Victor 1. Alright, now comes the challenge of finding that gate. It has to be somewhere down there on that side. So let's go ahead and keep following the taxi line. So in the real world would have been over here, but in GSX I think it's somewhere down that way. So over there we can see the ground vehicles as well. And a strange... What on earth is this? Let's hope we're not going to fall through it. I think that counts as a tail strike, doesn't it? Alright, anyway, we're just gonna take one of those over here. And that's gonna be fine. Here, there's some vehicles over there. Unfortunately, no markings whatsoever. Doesn't matter. Lights off. You see, Mike 13. Alright, recall is checked. Two blue. Come on. One red. Engine's dead. Cabin crew, disarm doors and cross-check. Alrighty. So, unfortunately no voice recorder switch installed in this aircraft. Then we got both engines below 20%. Squawk is 2000 anyway already. Transit shutdown checklist. That's the electrical on APU. Fast mode's off. Probeat auto. NEI is off. Yeah, disregard GSX. Right, NEI is off. Voice recorder not installed. Air compacts auto. Engine bleed on. APU bleed off, external lights, steady logo wheel well, start switches off, auto brake off, speed brake down to 10, flaps up, no light, park and brake set, start levers cut off, weather radar off, transponder 2000 standby, CB/RCB in, and cockpit door is unlocked. And that's the transit shutdown checklist complete. So, thank you very much for watching everyone, I do hope you liked this. As always, leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.